The WannaCry malware attack, also known as the WannaCrypt or WannaCrypt 0R attack, was a global cyber attack that occurred in May 2017. It was a significant ransomware attack that affected computer systems worldwide, causing widespread disruption and drawing international attention. Here's a detailed description of the WannaCry malware attack. Background: the WannaCry ransomware attack was a worldwide cyber attack in May 2017 by the WannaCry ransomware cryptoworm, which targeted computers running the Microsoft Windows operating system by encrypting data and demanding ransom payments in the Bitcoin cryptocurrency. 5. It propagated by using Eternal Blue, an exploit developed by the United States National Security Agency (NSA) for Windows systems. Eternal Blue was stolen and leaked by a group called the Shadow Brokers a month prior to the attack. While Microsoft had released patches previously to close the exploit, much of WannaCry's spread was from organizations that had not applied these or were using older Windows systems that were past their end of life. These patches were imperative to organizations' cybersecurity, but many were not implemented due to ignorance of their importance. Some have claimed a need for 24/7 operation, aversion to risking having formerly working applications breaking because of patch changes, lack of personnel or time to install them, or other reasons. The attack began at 7:44 Universal Time Coordinated on May 12, 2017 and was halted a few hours later at 15:03 Universal Time Coordinated by the registration of a kill switch discovered by Marcus Hutchins. The kill switch prevented already infected computers from being encrypted or further spreading WannaCry. 6. The attack was estimated to have affected more than 300,000 computers. 7. Across 150 countries. 7. With total damages ranging from hundreds of millions to billions of dollars. At the time, security experts believed from preliminary evaluation of the worm that the attack originated from North Korea or agencies working for the country. This was confirmed in December 2017 when the United States and United Kingdom formally asserted that North Korea was behind the attack, although North Korea has denied any involvement with the attack. 8. A new variant of WannaCry forced Taiwan's semiconductor manufacturing company TSMC to temporarily shut down several of its chip fabrication factories in August 2018. The worm spread onto 10,000 machines in TSMC's most advanced facilities. That's correct. Ransomware, including WannaCry, is a type of malicious software designed to encrypt a user's files, making them inaccessible. It then demands a ransom payment, often in the form of cryptocurrency like Bitcoin, in exchange for providing the decryption key that can unlock the encrypted files. Ransomware attacks can be highly disruptive and have targeted a wide range of victims, from individuals and small businesses to large organizations and government agencies. It's essential to have strong cybersecurity measures in place to prevent ransomware attacks and to regularly back up data to mitigate their impact. The attack is said to have hit more than 300,000 computers in 150 nations, causing billions of dollars of damage. WannaCry is a ransomware cryptoworm which targeted computers running the Microsoft Windows operating system by encrypting, locking data and demanding ransom payments in the Bitcoin cryptocurrency. The worm is also known as WannaCrypt 10, WannaDecrypt 0R 2.011, WannaCrypt 0R 2.012, and WannaDecryptor 13. It is considered a network worm because it also includes a transport mechanism to automatically spread itself. This transport code scans for vulnerable systems, then uses the Eternal Blue exploit to gain access and the Double Pulsar tool to install and execute a copy of itself. 14. WannaCry versions 0, 1, and 2 were created using Microsoft Visual C++ 6.0. 15. Eternal Blue is an exploit of Microsoft's implementation of their server message block (SMB) protocol released by the Shadow Brokers. Much of the attention and comment around the event was occasioned by the fact that the U.S. National Security Agency, NSA, from whom the exploit was likely stolen, had already discovered the vulnerability, but used it to create an exploit for its own offensive work rather than report it to Microsoft. 17. Microsoft eventually discovered the vulnerability, and on Tuesday, March 14, 2017, They issued Security Bulletin MS 17-010, which detailed the flaw and announced that patches had been released for all Windows versions that were currently supported at that time, these being Windows Vista, Windows 7, Windows 8.1, Windows 10, Windows Server 2008, Windows Server 2008 R2, Windows Server 2012, and Windows Server 2016-18. Double Pulsar is a backdoor tool also released by the shadow brokers on April 14, 2017. Starting from April 21, 2017, security researchers reported that there were tens of thousands of computers with the Double Pulsar backdoor installed, 19 by April 25. Reports estimated that the number of infected computers could be up to several hundred thousand, with numbers increasing every day. 2021, the WannaCry code can take advantage of any existing double pulsar infection, or installs it itself. 14, 22, 23 On May 9, 2017, private cybersecurity company RiskSense released code on GitHub, with the stated purpose of allowing legal white hat penetration testers to test the CVE 2017-0144 exploit on unpatched systems. 24. When executed, the WannaCry malware first checks the kill switch domain name, IUQRF so DP9 if JAPOSDFJHGO surjVURWURGUI.com. If it is not found, then the ransomware encrypts the computer's data. 25, 26, 27. Then attempts to exploit the SMB vulnerability to spread out to random computers on the internet. 28, and laterally to computers on the same network. 29, on the local system. WannaCry executable file extracts and installs binary and configuration files from its resource section. It also hides the extracted directory, modifies security descriptors, creates an encryption key, deletes shadow copies, and so on. 30. As with other modern ransomware, the payload displays a message informing the user that their files have been encrypted and demands a payment of around $300 in Bitcoin within 3 days or $600 within 7 days, equivalent to about $360 and $720 in 2022, 26, 31, warning that you have not so enough time. SIC, 3 hard-coded Bitcoin addresses or wallets are used to receive the payments of victims. As with all such wallets, their transactions and balances are publicly accessible even though the cryptocurrency wallet owners remain unknown. 32. Several organizations released detailed technical write-ups of the malware, including a senior security analyst at RiskSense. 33, 34, Microsoft. 35, Cisco. 14, Malwarebytes. 28, Symantec and McAfee. 29. Attack. The attack began on Friday, 12 May 2017, 36, 37, with evidence pointing to an initial infection in Asia at 07:44 UTC, 36, 38. The initial infection was likely through an exposed vulnerable SMB port, 39, rather than email phishing as initially assumed, 36. Within a day, the code was reported to have infected more than 230,000 computers in over 150 countries. 40, 41. Organizations that had not installed Microsoft's security update from May were affected by the attack. 42. Those still running unsupported versions of Microsoft Windows, such as Windows XP and Windows Server 2003. 43. 44. Were at particularly high risk because no security patches had been released since April 2014 for Windows XP and July 2015 for Windows Server 2003. 10. A Kaspersky Lab study reported, however, that less than 0.1% of the affected computers were running Windows XP and that 98% of the affected computers were running Windows 7. 10:45 in a controlled testing environment. The cybersecurity firm Cryptus Logic found that it was unable to infect a Windows XP system with WannaCry using just the exploit, as the payload failed to load, or caused the operating system to crash rather than actually execute and encrypt files. However, when executed manually, WannaCry could still operate on Windows XP 46, 47, 48. Defensive response edit. Experts quickly advised affected users against paying the ransom due to no reports of people getting their data back after payment, and as high revenues would encourage more of such campaigns. 49, 50, 51. As of June 14, 2017, after the attack had subsided, a total of 327 payments totaling $130,634 and 51.623965339 BTC had been transferred. 52. The day after the initial attack in May, Microsoft released out-of-band security updates for end-of-life products Windows XP, Windows Server 2003, and Windows 8. These patches had been created in February, but were previously only available to those who paid for a custom support plan. 5344. Organizations were advised to patch Windows and plug the vulnerability in order to protect themselves from a cyber attack. Citation needed. The head of Microsoft's Cyber Defense Operations Center, Adrian Hall, said that due to the elevated risk for destructive cyber attacks at this time, we made the decision to take this action because applying these updates provides further protection against potential attacks with characteristics similar to WannaCry, alternative name to WannaCry. 5455. Researcher Marcus Hutchins, 5657, discovered the kill switch domain hard-coded in the malware. 585960. Registering a domain name for a DNS sinkhole stopped the attack spreading as a worm. Because the ransomware only encrypted the computer's files if it was unable to connect to that domain, which all computers infected with WannaCry before the website's registration had been unable to do. While this did not help already infected systems, it severely slowed the spread of the initial infection and gave time for defensive measures to be deployed worldwide, particularly in North America and Asia, which had not been attacked to the same extent as elsewhere. 61, 62, 63, 64, 65. On May 14th, a first variant of WannaCry appeared with a new and second 66. Kill switch registered by Matt Swayche on the same day. This was followed by a second variant with the third and last kill switch on May 15th, which was registered by Checkpoint Threat Intelligence analysts. 67, 68. A few days later, a new version of WannaCry was detected that lacked the kill switch altogether. 69, 70, 71, 72. On May 19th, it was reported that hackers were trying to use a Mirai botnet variant to effect a distributed denial-of-service attack on WannaCry's kill switch domain with the intention of knocking it offline. 73. On May 22nd, Hutchins protected the domain by switching to a cached version of the site, capable of dealing with much higher traffic loads than the live site. 74. Separately, researchers from University College London and Boston University reported that their Paybreak system could defeat WannaCry and several other families of ransomware by recovering the keys used to encrypt the user's data. 75. 76. It was discovered that Windows encryption APIs used by WannaCry may not completely clear the prime numbers used to generate the payload's private keys from the memory, making it potentially possible to retrieve the required key if they had not yet been overwritten or cleared from resident memory. The key is kept in the memory if the WannaCry process has not been killed and the computer has not been rebooted after being infected. 77. This behavior was used by a French researcher to develop a tool known as WannaKey, which automates this process on Windows XP systems. 78, 79, 80. This approach was iterated upon by a second tool known as WannaKiwi, which was tested to work on Windows 7 and Server 2008 R2 as well. 81. Within 4 days of the initial outbreak, new infections had slowed to a trickle due to these responses. 82. Attribution edit. Linguistic analysis of the ransom notes indicated the authors were likely fluent in Chinese and proficient in English, as the versions of the notes in those languages were probably human-written while the rest seemed to be machine-translated. 83. 84. According to an analysis by the FBI's Cyber Behavioral Analysis Center, the computer that created the ransomware language files had Hangul language fonts installed, as evidenced by the presence of the \charset129 rich text format tag. 15. Metadata in the language files also indicated that the computers that created the ransomware were set to UTC plus 9 o'clock, which is used in Korea 15. A security researcher, 8586, initially posted a tweet, 87, referencing code similarities between WannaCry and previous malware. The cybersecurity companies 88, Kaspersky Lab and Symantec have both said the code has some similarities with that previously used by the Lazarus Group 89. Believed to have carried out the cyber attack on Sony Pictures in 2014 and a Bangladesh bank heist in 2016 and linked to North Korea. 89. This could also be either simple reuse of code by another group 90 or an attempt to shift blame, as in a cyber false flag operation wink with a frown 89. But a leaked internal NSA memo is alleged to have also linked the creation of the worm to North Korea. 91. Brad Smith, the president of Microsoft, said he believed North Korea was the originator of the WannaCry attack. 92. And the UK's National Cybersecurity Centre reached the same conclusion. 93. On December 18, 2017, the United States government formally announced that it publicly considers North Korea to be the main culprit behind the WannaCry attack. 94. Then President Trump's Homeland Security advisor, Tom Bossert, wrote an op-ed in the Wall Street Journal about this charge, saying, "We do not make this allegation lightly. It is based on evidence." 95. In a press conference the following day, Bossert said that the evidence indicates that Kim Jong-un had given the order to launch the malware attack. 96. Bossert said that Canada, New Zealand and Japan agree with the United States' assessment of the evidence that links the attack to North Korea. 97. While the United Kingdom's Foreign and Commonwealth Office says it also stands behind the United States' assertion. 98. North Korea, however, denied being responsible for the cyber attack. 99. 100. On September 6, 2018, the U.S. Department of Justice (DOJ) announced formal charges against Park Jin-hyuk for involvement in the Sony Pictures hack of 2014. The DOJ contended that Park was a North Korean hacker working as part of a team of experts for the North Korean Reconnaissance General Bureau. The Department of Justice asserted this team also had been involved in the WannaCry attack, among other activities. 101. 102. Impact, edit. The ransomware campaign was unprecedented in scale according to Europol 40, which estimates that around 200,000 computers were infected across 150 countries. According to Kaspersky Lab, the four most affected countries were Russia, Ukraine, India, and Taiwan. 104. One of the largest agencies struck by the attack was the National Health Service hospitals in England and Scotland. 105, 106, and up to 70,000 devices, including computers, MRI scanners, blood storage refrigerators, and theater equipment may have been affected. 107. On May 12, some NHS services had to turn away non-critical emergencies and some ambulances were diverted. 108. 109. In 2016, thousands of computers in 42 separate NHS trusts in England were reported to be still running Windows XP. 43. In 2018, a report by members of Parliament concluded that all 200 NHS hospitals or other organizations checked in the wake of the WannaCry attack still failed cybersecurity checks. 110. 111. NHS hospitals in Wales and Northern Ireland were unaffected by the attack. 112. 108. Nissan Motor Manufacturing UK in Tyne and Ware, England, halted production after the ransomware infected some of their systems. Renault also stopped production at several sites in an attempt to stop the spread of the ransomware. 113. 114. Spain's Telefonica, FedEx, and Deutsche Bahn were hit, along with many other countries and companies worldwide. 115. 116. 117. The attack's impact is said to be relatively low compared to other potential attacks of the same type and could have been much worse had Hutchins not discovered that a kill switch had been built in by its creators. 118. 119. Or if it had been specifically targeted on highly critical infrastructure like nuclear power plants, dams, or railway systems. 120. 121. According to cyber risk modeling firm Science, economic losses from the cyber attack could reach up to $4 billion, with other groups estimating the losses to be in the hundreds of millions. Reactions edit. A number of experts highlighted the NSA's non-disclosure of the underlying vulnerability and their loss of control over the Eternal Blue attack tool that exploited it. Edward Snowden said that if the NSA had privately disclosed the flaw used to attack hospitals when they found it, not when they lost it, the attack may not have happened. 166. British cybersecurity expert Graham Cluley also sees some culpability on the part of the US intelligence services. According to him and others, they could have done something ages ago to get this problem fixed, and they didn't do it. He also said that despite obvious uses for such tools to spy on people of interest, they have a duty to protect their country's citizens. 167. Others have also commented that this attack shows that the practice of intelligence agencies to stockpile exploits for offensive purposes rather than disclosing them for defensive purposes may be problematic. 119. Microsoft President and Chief Legal Officer Brad Smith wrote, repeatedly, exploits in the hands of governments have leaked into the public domain and caused widespread damage. An equivalent scenario with conventional weapons would be the U.S. military having some of its Tomahawk missiles stolen. 168, 169, 170. Russian President Vladimir Putin placed the responsibility of the attack on U.S. intelligence services for having created Eternal Blue. 155. On May 17, 2017, United States bipartisan lawmakers introduced the Patch Act 171 that aims to have exploits reviewed by an independent board to balance the need to disclose vulnerabilities with other national security interests while increasing transparency and accountability to maintain public trust in the process. 172. On June 15, 2017, the United States Congress was to hold a hearing on the attack. 173. Two subpanels of the House Science Committee were to hear the testimonies from various individuals working in the government and non-governmental sector about how the U.S. can improve its protection mechanisms for its systems against similar attacks in the future. 173. Marcus Hutchins, a cybersecurity researcher working in loose collaboration with UK's National Cybersecurity Centre. 174. 175 researched the malware and discovered a kill switch. 57. Later, globally dispersed security researchers collaborated online to develop open-source tools. 176, 177 that allow for decryption without payment under some circumstances. 178. Snowden states that when NSA-enabled ransomware eats the internet, help comes from researchers, not spy agencies, and asks why this is the case. 179, 180, 175. Adam Siegel, director of the Digital and Cyberspace Policy Program at the Council on Foreign Relations, stated that the patching and updating systems are broken, basically in the private sector and in government agencies. 119. In addition, Siegel said that government's apparent inability to secure vulnerabilities opens a lot of questions about backdoors and access to encryption that the government argues it needs from the private sector for security. 119. Arndt Gombaum, president of Germany's Federal Office for Information Security, BSI, stated that the current attacks show how vulnerable our digital society is. It's a wake-up call for companies to finally take IT security seriously. 181. The WannaCry attack underscored the importance of cybersecurity, the need to keep software up to date, and the dangers of stockpiling and losing control of potent cyber weapons. It prompted renewed attention to cybersecurity measures and raised awareness of the potential for large-scale, global cyber attacks. It's worth noting that while some individuals and organizations paid the ransom, there was no guarantee that they would receive a working decryption key, and paying ransoms only fuels the criminal activities of ransomware operators. The WannaCry ransomware attack of 2017 stands as a stark reminder of the ever-evolving and relentless nature of cyber threats in our increasingly digital world. It exposed vulnerabilities not only in outdated software but also in our collective understanding of the potential consequences of malicious actors wielding powerful cyber weapons. The attack revealed that a single vulnerability can have far-reaching global implications, impacting critical services, businesses, and individuals. In response to the WannaCry attack, we witnessed a remarkable demonstration of international collaboration with cybersecurity experts, law enforcement agencies, and technology companies uniting to mitigate the threat and track down those responsible. It was a testament to the shared commitment to safeguarding our interconnected digital landscape. As we move forward, the lessons learned from WannaCry remain pertinent. Keeping software up to date, regularly patching vulnerabilities, and maintaining robust cybersecurity defenses are paramount. Responsible handling of cyber weapons and the prevention of their illicit spread are imperative for global security. We must continue to remain vigilant, educate ourselves and our communities about the evolving threat landscape, and foster a culture of cybersecurity awareness. By doing so, we can collectively strengthen our defenses against ransomware and other cyber threats, ensuring a safer and more secure digital future. Subscribe to stay informed. Stay informed about cybersecurity threats, emerging technologies, and more by subscribing to our channel. Knowledge is your best defense in the digital age. Together, we can build a more resilient and secure online world. Subscribe now and be part of the solution.